name is Jack. I'm 8 years old, and I really like Lego.
I'm Simone Parry, and Jack has spinal muscular atrophy type 2. It's a degenerative disease, which means it won't ever get better. It will progress slowly and get worse. So intellectually, Jack is what you would consider normal. However, his muscles are weak and they will only get weaker.
My name's Tracy Jackson. I'm 49 years old. I have FSH muscular dystrophy. I was diagnosed when I was 16. Not only does it affect the top half of your body, it also goes down into the legs and right down to the ankles. Mum was diagnosed when she was young with polio because they didn't know what the condition was. They didn't know about muscular dystrophy back in her days. So she found out 3 months before me that she had this condition, and then I found out. The first thing they said to her is, okay, out of your 3 children, have you noticed someone that falls a lot, someone that doesn't run a lot, someone that has trouble walking up and down the stairs, getting up off the floor, just things like that she had to notice. And of course, that was me to a T. The first thing they wanted me to do is to go to hospital and have a biopsy done. I thought that's what I was going for, a biopsy. And then they tell Mum that I was going to spend a week in there. Little did I know that it was a week of all kinds of tests that they were going to put me through. My dad works permanently. My mum doesn't drive. So I spent that entire week in hospital on my own, going through all these tests at the age of 16. So you can imagine it was a big thing.
I still, to this day, can replay the doctor's office. Imagine your family just going along, all your hopes, your dreams, you're in your nice little bubble, and then it is just completely turned upside down.
And it was like a sort of a hammer as well, a great big blow to the stomach. It's like, oh my God, I now know what it is, and I know what Mum's got, and that's what I've got, and oh, crikeys.
We still got on with life, we still did everything, but you really do go into quite a deep, depressive state. There wasn't any support right at the beginning, but we quickly found some support. And in that first 6 months, just even another family that has been through it is just huge. Just because no one else knows what you're really going through. So support is just the number one thing.
With FSH, if you sit around too much and you don't do a lot of physical exercise or movement, the muscle wastes away quickly. So you need to be more active. They say water exercises is great.
Jack was such a happy little baby and such a happy little boy that, he was going to have a great life no matter of this diagnosis. And it was up to Steve and I and our families to ensure that whatever he can do, we would help him do and have as normal a life as possible. So whether that meant adapting equipment, buying equipment, we were just going to make sure he could do what everyone else could do, but just maybe had to do it differently.
Sometimes I have to do stuff a bit differently with other kids. I can drive a wheelchair and other kids can't drive wheelchairs. And other kids can run, but I can't run.
We do know how lucky we are that financially we can provide for Jack and we can provide for all types of equipment. I do get quite upset when I think about, people that can't. And it totally limits that child's world. And I just don't know how other people do it. I can't imagine it. And my heart just goes out to them.
Funding is so important for us when we get into our adult years because the equipment that we need is just that little bit more specialised, and I don't know about other people, but I know for myself, I'm going to have to put in place more expensive equipment in my room to help me transfer and stuff like that. And this equipment is expensive, and I don't know how I'm going to pay for that kind of stuff. I know for myself, I am constantly worrying about what is going to happen to me in the future because there's no funding there, And so my life is made up with worrying a lot about how I'm going to take that next step. Being diagnosed with a disease like this that that is not going to be fun, as putting it as plainly as possible, it doesn't mean that you can't have fun. Yes, this is a shitty disease, but you can have a little bit of fun along the way.